Good morning, students. I am Hittu, PGT English from Suraj School, Rewari.
Today, we will discuss the second chapter. We are not afraid to die if we can all be together. First of all, I will give you the introduction of this chapter. We are not afraid to die if we can all be together is a first person account of an adventurous ordeal that our family experiences. On January 1976, the narrator set sail for England. He wanted to duplicate the round the world voice made 200 years earlier by Captain Cook. On January 2nd, huge waves shook the deck and broke over the ship. They had survived for 15 hours, but it was quite difficult to reach Australia. At about 6 p.m. on January 6, they anchored offshore a tiny island where all the 28 inhabitants came to cheer them. That is the introduction of this chapter. Let's begin the chapter. Yes, student. First of all, just pause the video and take a reading of this page. In this page, the author describes that it was in July 1976 that the narrator, along with his wife Mary, son Jonathan, and daughter Suzanne, set sail from Plymouth, England to sail round the world. The son was just 6 years old, while the daughter was 7. The narrator was a 37 years old businessman, but he dreamt like an explorer. He wanted to repeat the performance of Captain James Cook made 200 years earlier. For 16 years, he had been improving his seafaring skill in British water. He invested all his savings on fitting and testing out a boat called Wavewalker. It was 23 meters long and 30 ton in weight with a wooden lower part. They had to cover 1,05,000 distance in 3 years. The first leg of the voyage up to Cape Town, South Africa, passed pleasantly. Before heading for the east, the narrator hired 2 crewmen, an American named Larry Vigil and a Swiss named Herb, for their help. He knew that the southern Indian Ocean was very rough, stormy, and dangerous. Yes, student, again just pause the video and read the first 3 paragraphs. Yes, Peter. In this paragraph, the author describes that as they left Cape Town, they began to face strong winds which kept blowing for few weeks. But the gales did not frighten him so much as the size of the waves, which were up to 15 meters high, almost touching the mainmast. On December 25, the boat was 3,500 kilometers east of Cape Town. In spite of foul weather, they celebrated Christmas. They hoped still that the weather would change, and it did change, but for the worse. On January 2nd morning, the waves rose very high. They were sailing slowly. The ship rose to the top of each wave as they hit it. The wind screamed. To slow the boat down, they dropped the storm sail and put a heavy rope in a loop across the back part of the boat. They equipped themselves with lifelines, oilskins, and life jackets. Then they waited for the greater danger ahead. Yes, student, again, just pause the video and read the remaining paragraph of this page. According to these paragraphs, the first sign of approaching disaster came with an evil silence. The wind dropped and the sky became dark. With a deafening roar, a cloud like thing hit the ship. It was, in fact, a strong and high wave. The death seemed quite at hand. The roar increased to thunder. The back part of the boat moved up. An explosion shook the platform. A wave broke over the ship, and the narrator's head hit against the wheel. He felt as if he was being swallowed by the waves. But he did not lose hope and patience. The boat was almost turning over. The masts and poles lay flat. The narrator grabbed the rails. He was tossed around the deck like a rag doll. His chest bones cracked, his teeth were broken, and his mouth was filled with blood. But he hung onto the wheel. There was water all over. It had flown below, but there was no way to examine the exact position. Yes, student, again, just pause the video and take a reading of this page. In this page, the author describes that suddenly the lid over the opening on the deck was thrown open. Mary screamed that the lower part of the ship was full of water. She was told to she was told to take the wheel. The narrator went down to check on the other members. The two crewmen, Larry and Herb, were madly trying to pump out the water. The sideboard of the ship had plugged inwards. Clothes, charts, and crockery were floating like toys. He moved towards the children's cabin and found them safe on the upper berth. But Sue had a bump on her head. The narrator found a hammer, screws, and canvas. He made some repairs to stop the water from entering. He spread the canvas across the open holes. Some water now flowed towards the sides instead of below. More problems arose when the head pumps were blocked up with debris. The electric pump went out of order. The water level rose dangerously. Back on deck, the narrator found the two spare head pumps also thrown overboard. Then he thought of another electric pump in the chart room. He connected it to an outpipe and it worked. The night was bitterly cold. They sent out distress radio signal asking for help. The little girl's head was swollen and she got black eyes due to her injury. She also had a deep cut on her arm, but she did not complain because she did not want to cause worry to her father. This is the description, this is the explanation of this page.